What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today I'm going to be talking about a little film that's been called the Christian version of John Wick. It's Beckman. Every now and then, I feel the need to watch religious films, especially if it has a number of other people talking about it. It's been a while since I've prepared myself to cringe at what PureFlix has in store now, the last of which was probably the God's Not Dead trilogy. I watch these because I have faith that PureFlix isn't completely lost. Sometimes they have good, or at the very least, interesting concepts, and Beckman is one of those, about a hitman agonist. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, agonist. A person who is torn by inner conflict. Beckman focuses on a man named Aaron Beckman who was once a famous assassin who turned to religion as a form of escaping from his sinful life. But he is forced back into that world when a girl he considers a daughter is abducted by a pair of traffickers led by a cult leader. He risks all to take vengeance upon the man who took her from him. Calling this a Christian version of John Wick is a bit of an understatement. It's definitely primarily John Wick, mixed a little bit with Taken. This film is downright ridiculous for a variety of reasons, but I want to first start off with some good things that I have to say about it, and the main takeaway that I have to say about Beckman is that it at least tried. They saw the popularity that surrounded the John Wick series and tried to kind of reach the same crowd while throwing a religious theme or two in there as well, making this assassin a pastor. Now there's an idea. I'll admit that I did like the editing of this movie, since that seemed to be a major focus in the film, both in its action and its overall direction, which is mostly linear, but sometimes it goes back and forth in time to focus on certain emotions. I'm sure one of the main things that people are also wondering about this film is the action itself and how it compares to John Wick. The answer is not bad, especially for a Christian film. But obviously, it's not as good as anything Hollywood is able to do. My biggest laugh comes down to when the main characters are driving on the street during a low-speed car chase. As our lead character says, "Only idiots get into car chases." Yeah, more like this isn't a contained movie set, it's just a regular street you're driving on, and you can't legally do that crap in real life, so the bad guys calmly follow behind our action star as he drives 35 miles per hour down the street. Very exciting. Oh yeah, and one thing that I actually liked about this movie was certain characters. Most were flat and shallow, but apart from Beckman himself, you had the cult leader played by William Baldwin, who was pretty interesting. And there's a couple of other assassin characters like the administrator and the assassins that were actually a couple that worked together. They were pretty cool too, but most of that was just kind of borrowed from other movies that contain assassins. No, this film definitely has some major flaws. The main problem that it runs into is, simply put, I couldn't figure out who the target audience was supposed to be. It doesn't even really work for Christians. People who like normal movies, especially movies like John Wick, will laugh and honestly cringe at the amateurism and bad acting of this film. All the while, Christians will cringe at the violence, murder, and gore of the film that they can't even watch with their kids. There's no winning with Beckman. The niche of this film is so tiny that I'm not sure it'll work for anybody unless they literally love everything that they watch. I also don't understand how they keep getting David A.R. White to star as the lead actor in every PureFlix film that exists. Why? Does he own the company or something? Because he is not a good actor. Not even by a little bit. He's painfully atrocious at what he does, and this 50-year-old actor still sports the same early 2000s blonde tips hairstyle he's been wearing for the last few decades. I can never take this dude seriously because he thinks he's amazing when he clearly is not. Any other negative associated with this film really just comes down to where PureFlix consistently misses the mark. I'm talking about cinematography with most scenes and an abundance of church stuff that doesn't really feel balanced with the violent murder stuff. It's a very, very inconsistent movie. Let's go ahead and break down my final score for a second. From an unbiased technical vantage point, this film is clearly cheaper than most movies you'll watch in the year. It tried really hard during its action sequences to stand out, and perhaps if you're a sheltered Christian, it will work pretty well for you. But seeing as many movies as I do in a year, it's just as laughably bad as any other Christian film out there. That score is 56%, and as far as my bias score goes, I enjoyed some of the action stuff because it's really funny to see a Christian movie do any of that, but as usual, the heavy-handed religious stuff is annoying, distracting, and inconsistent with the rest of the movie. That score is 46%, averaging everything out to a final rating of 51%, 51 out of 100 possible stars, or an F-letter grade. Now, it may have failed, just as a lot of other Christian films fail my grading scale, but it was technically rated quite a bit higher than other religious films, particularly the God's Not Dead trilogy. And that's probably just because it's sometimes fun to watch, for better or worse. But if you've you've seen Beckman, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below. Are you a fan of Christian films? And if so, are you actually disgusted with all the violence in this? As far as YouTube's concerned, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this review, because there's always more like it coming out each and every single day. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1.